All right, let's get straight into it. If you're tired of hype and hot takes, you're in the right place. We are about to break down the clash between the Perth Scorchers and the Hobart Hurricanes, using only what actually matters, the data. We're going to look at venue trends, player matchups, and the hard numbers that tell the real story here. Okay, let's just dive right into the heart of it because this is the one question that really defines this match. For years, Perth Stadium has been the Scorchers' absolute fortress. But is that still true? We're going to use the data to find out for sure. Now, before we even touch any of the historical data, we have to talk about the huge elephant in the room. The teams walking onto that field are not the same ones that built up all these stats. Perth's legendary pace attack, we're talking Behrendorff, Ty, and Richardson, they're gone. And on the other side, Hobart is missing their explosive opener, Matthew Wade. I mean, these aren't just little tweaks. This stuff fundamentally changes the entire matchup and makes some of those old assumptions totally useless. So, let's start our investigation by breaking down the venue itself. What did the numbers tell us about playing at Perth Stadium? What does it demand? The first number you absolutely need to know is 171. That is the average first inning score at this ground. So think of this as the par score. It's the absolute baseline for even being competitive. But here's the catch. Just hitting par isn't really enough to get the job done. The average winning first inning score is actually 178. So the key takeaway here is that teams batting first need to be looking well past 170. They've got to be pushing towards that 180 mark to feel safe. And this slide is where it gets really interesting, because you can see just how dramatically the odds shift. Scores below 160, super risky. Hitting the 170s gets you to about a 60% chance of winning, but just look what happens when you cross 180. The win rate for the team defending a total jumps to a massive 73%, and it's over 80% for scores above 190. The message is crystal clear. Go big, or you're probably going home. So how do you stop teams from getting those big scores? Well, the data gives a really clear verdict. Pace is king in Perth. Fast bowlers have a much better average in strike rate. Spinners, on the other hand, they tend to get a bit more expensive. And this right here perfectly illustrates why the absence of Perth's elite fast bowlers is such a critical, game-changing factor. Everyone always talks about the pressure of the death overs. But is that really where chases are decided at Perth? The data suggests we should probably be looking somewhere else. And here is the big correction. The most difficult and decisive phase is actually the power play in the second innings. So why is that? Well, the pressure from the new ball is at its absolute peak. The batting average is at its lowest. And early wickets taken right here, they dictate the outcome of most chases. Honestly, those death over stats can be pretty misleading because they're often skewed by tailenders batting when the game is already long gone. Okay, so we understand the battlefield now. Let's turn to the contenders. How have these two teams actually performed under these exact conditions? And wow, the historical record is a tale of two complete extremes. The Scorchers have been utterly dominant, winning 65% of their games here overall. For the Hurricanes, this place has been a house of horrors, with a win rate of less than 29%. It's a brutal record. But this slide, this is the one that really tells the whole story. When it comes to chasing at Perth in the last 5 years, the Scorchers are nearly perfect, winning 8 out of 9 matches. That's just incredible. The Hurricanes, they have not won a single chase here in that same time. 0 from 3. It is the most powerful trend heading into this match, without a doubt. Okay, we've covered the venue and the teams. Now let's zoom right in on the individual battles that the data suggests are going to decide this game. And when you look at the head-to-head summary, a really clear pattern just emerges. The core of Perth's batting lineup, they tend to score freely against Hobart's key bowlers. But on the other side of the coin, Hobart's key batters have historically really struggled to get going against the Scorchers' attack. Let's look at a perfect example. Aaron Hardy has been an absolute nightmare for Hobart's mean strike bowlers. He's smashed Nathan Ellis for 53 runs off just 32 balls and Riley Meredith for 26 off 15. That's a combined strike rate way over 165. He just does not let them settle into a rhythm. And then on the flip side, here is Hobart's problem completely personified. Ben McDermott is one of their most dangerous players, no question. But against Ashton Agar, he's been completely shut down. He's been dismissed twice in just 21 balls, and he's scoring at a strike rate below 86. I mean, that is a match-losing matchup right there. So to kind of summarize all the player data, Perth's batting at home is still absolutely elite, with multiple players averaging over 30 and scoring super quickly. Their bowling, however, that's the real question mark. For Hobart, the story is pretty grim. Their batting lineup has a collective average here of just under 20, and their bowlers have really struggled to contain Perth's batters.
All right, we've looked at the venue, we've looked at the teams and the players. It is time to bring all these data points together for our final verdict.
So here's the final equation we're looking at. Perth's clear strength is their deep and powerful batting, which is proven to post big totals at home. Their weakness, a significantly weaker pace attack, which makes them vulnerable. Hobart's weakness is a fragile batting lineup that has historically failed at this venue, and that is now made even worse by the absence of Matthew Wade. So, what does this all mean at the end of the day? Well, despite their very real bowling concerns, the evidence points overwhelmingly in one direction. Based on their batting dominance, their incredible record while chasing, and Hobart's struggles, especially without Wade, the data suggests the Perth Scorchers are the clear favorites, with a win probability somewhere between 65 and 70%. And that's the data-driven story of this contest. It's not about hype, it's not about opinion, it's just about what the numbers tell us. Because here, we always believe in numbers over noise. Thanks for watching.